Justin.
Hey,
How are
how
you?
are you?
I'm doing well, Justin. How are you today?
Doing good, Keith. How are you? It's very nice to meet you.
A real pleasure, Justin. A real pleasure to have you and meet you today. So, how was your day so far?
Oh, it's been a really good day. The weather has been much nicer today compared to the last couple days. We had like a lot of rain, and now it's kind of nice and sunny. And I got a good workout in this morning, so I feel energized and ready to just take
Awesome,
on the day, you know?
awesome, Justin. Awesome. So, Justin, your sophomore album, Detachment from Reality, was out on April 18th. So, would you like to tell me a bit on the songwriting and production that goes behind this new album?
Yeah. So when it comes to the songwriting, I composed everything, and yeah, it's like my baby basically. Um, and then I brought on other people to help bring the vision to life, and of course, like I allowed for like certain creative liberties because I wanted like their character
Yeah.
to be in there. I'll just kind of go through the list of obviously me as the guitar player, songwriter, blah blah blah. We have Albert Rybka on vocals, and yeah, he handles all the lead vocal duties. Most of like a lot of backup vocals and stuff. I do some backup vocals and there's other backup vocals in there, but like for the most part, it's you're hearing a lot of Albert. And then we have Hannes Grossmann on drums. Um, and like the way that worked was I had programmed drums that I would send to him and he would listen to them and either he would do it that way or he would, kind of like, we're going to do it this way a little, or, kind of make a little shift and stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that I like, is where he kind of like puts his own little spin on it, and kind of enhances the vision in a certain way. And then we have Alex Weber on bass. And for him, it was interesting because basically I sent him guitar tabs, I sent him the music, and he would send me back bass tabs and just ask me like, "Oh, is this okay?" And he did that with maybe like four songs or so, and I was just like, "Yeah, it's great." And then from that point, he was just like, "All right," and then he just started recording the songs and sending them, and he got it done in like a week. It was crazy. He was super fast. So his bass parts they're just based off of the composition. So there weren't bass parts that were like written for him. It was just like, here's the music, do what you think works for bass. Like the only stipulation I gave to both Hannes and Alex was I said I really want this to groove. Like I want it to groove and I want it to bounce. So like whatever you need to do to make that happen and to keep that kind of feel going, do that. And other than that, like have at it. Because I don't like to interfere too much, because I feel like that sort of takes the fun out of it and could leave like a sour taste in the other person's mouth. And there's like a ego thing too. Like it's like let them do what they're good at.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Um, and then I have Per Nilsson uh, did a guest solo on Age of Innocence. So basically, you like in the song, there's kind of a more like mellower section that's kind of vibey and has like electronic-y stuff going and whatnot. And I solo over that, and then it picks up and it gets heavy, and that's when Per comes in and he kind of is just like, all right, kid, here's how it's done, you know,
Yeah.
and his solo just was mind blowing. And he's one of my favorite guitar players, so to have him on the album was like an honor. And same goes with, you know, the other guys too. Like Hannes has been one of my favorite drummers since I was like in high school, and I heard Necrophagist for the first time, and it's just he's just incredible. And Alex is a fantastic bass player, and I've been a huge fan of his playing for years with like Exist and everything that he's done with, you know, and he was in Obscura and now he's in Revocation. I mean, he's super just talented guy. And then we also have Gabriel Riccio doing some guest, like kind of like Devin Townsend-y sort of screams in the song Lifeless Death. He helped engineer the vocals, but I went over to his place and we did some editing of the vocals, just, you know, like kind of fine tuning things and just making sure everything was good. And in that process, we were listening, and, you know, it was like, hey, what do you think about like maybe putting some like kind of stuff in there? And he was like, I'm not warmed up, but, you know, we'll try it. And it came out really cool and it sounded great. So we put it in there, and we were, you know, it was really cool. And then an ex-member who used to be like the old drummer,
Yeah.
Zach Libby, he contributed some death metal vocals on 2 songs, and you can hear those kind of giving kind of like a push to the sound, right? Like just kind of beefing it up a little, adding a little depth and layering. And then Jennifer Benson did some guest backup vocals on 3 of the songs, I believe. And it just kind of helped add to the like ethereal atmosphere, because she has more of like a operatic sort of voice, and it just all together it sounded really cool. And then as far as like the actual production goes with the mix, I ended up working with David Castillo, and it was super cool working with him. One, just because he's done so many albums that I just love, like all that like kind of mid-period Catatonia stuff where they got like more proggy and stuff, and, you know, he's worked with Leprous a lot, and like just I just love his work. What he's done with Persephone and all that. Like he really is just a master of his craft, and working with him, I think, is what took the album and kind of brought it to that next level, because he was able to take all these layers and all this crazy sounds and stuff and kind of form it and like sculpt the sound and carve it out. So, you know, when you're listening to it, you can actually hear everything but still feel it. And it's, you know, it's very hard to do with that type of music and those type of arrangements. And it takes a very specific type of mixing engineer. So I had to be really picky about it. And, you know, he was awesome to work with, and the communication was great. He's just super down to earth, super cool. Like, I love the dude. He's awesome. And then he had his friend Thomas Pleck Johansson do the master. So it took like the mix. The mix was already good, and then he like just amped it up to that next level, and it was great. So it was just really awesome to work with all those guys. I feel like just really honored, and just it's like a dream come true. It's just something I never really like imagined happening, and then here it is. It's happened, and everything came out how I wanted it, and I'm happy. So it's cool.
Fantastic, just fantastic. And this detachment from reality has some kind of concept or a theme it was focused on.
Yes. So the album it's not like a like straightforward concept album in the sense that it's not like this specific story, like start to finish kind of thing. It's more like conceptual in nature, and like what is like happening throughout, like there is an order and a sequence to it as far as like the emotions and the cycle going through and then coming out of it. But what it deals with is it basically deals with my internal emotions that I was dealing with when I was much younger, at the time of like writing the album, because I had most of this material written like almost 10 years ago. So there's just a lot of stuff that I was dealing with in my like mid 20s, like internally, and just, you know, figuring things out in life and all that, and just different experiences, and trying to understand the world, understand people, understand behaviors, understand why people are the way they are, understand why like not everybody is like you, and you know, and like just all these different types of things, and like a lot of like dark and internal feelings like depression and anxiety and stuff, and suicidal thoughts. And so it really gets pretty deep and pretty personal, and it kind of goes through this roller coaster. Like the first song, Heart of Gold, the lyrics were written by Zach Libby, and so they don't necessarily have to do with my emotions in the sense, but we felt at the time that the lyrical theme really fit with the other stuff, because it's kind of like depicting this idea of like pure like greed that can come from humans, and like this selfish behavior, and like what people are willing to do, and just this really dark side of like perspective of the world. And I think it's a great way to start the album, because it's kind of like, hey, there's this like scary world, and then like here's little Justin coming into the world, and now here's his emotions of how he, you know, like navigates his way through and tries to understand it on a I don't know, an analytical level, but it ends up becoming like emotionally analytical. And so it takes you through these different kind of bouts. Like Descent is, you know, about this like sort of depression and feeling like you don't have any purpose, and just stagnant and longing for some type of fulfillment. And then Transparency pulls you kind of into a similar kind of vibe, but it's more like career focused, in the sense of like, well, what am I doing with my life? And like, whoa, you know, like I don't want to just be one of these like 9 to 5 people, and like I'm just not happy. And so it's kind of, you know, pondering on that, and maybe going too deep into it. But like at the time, you know, it's just like, you know, overthinking, right? And then it moves to detachment from reality, where it's like you get really so deep into this overthinking kind of thing that it takes you to, and that's like what the album cover is supposed to represent. It's like it's just overthinking, being so in your thoughts and so like down in the dumps that it just consumes you, and you're so out of touch, because you're just like, you know, you're basically not there. You're present, but you're like not. And you know, the thing is too, like these themes, like I don't feel this way anymore or anything like that, but it is something that I went through, and it is something that needed to be expressed in the music, because the music is how I emotionally express myself. And so it's very real, you know. It's not like, I don't want anything that's like contrived or anything like that. So yeah, it's very interesting, because like, again, you move into that area, and it's like, oh, now it's like it's getting darker, and we're like more disconnected from reality, and like humanity in the sense. And then there's kind of like this wanting to like get out of that, and that's where like Age of Innocence is kind of like teetering the fence, where Age of Innocence is thinking like, well, maybe if we move to more of this like childlike state of mind that we had before, like, you know, adulthood and, you know, different circumstances entered into life to like make us jaded and negatively impact our perspective. And so it's kind of this cry to like, hey, why don't we revert back to this like childhood like mind? And what if we did that like all as like people, like just as a whole, like collectively, like maybe things could be better in the world and we could be happier. And so it's like struggling with this idea, and then it moves into a genuine empathy, which kind of goes even deeper on that, where it's like, yeah, like, hey, we're all, it's very like hippie-ish, like, hey, we're all one, you know, or like, let's, you know, love each other, let's understand each other, you know, and like, you know, and it's like one day we will see if we all start to believe in each other, you know, and like we're connected mentally and all this stuff. So it's like very like, you know, wanting this like positivity. But, you know, then in that struggle to try to get there, when you're in a dark place, but you're trying to get there, boom, you fall back down, and then the track Lifeless Death hits, and that's about the lowest moment. And that song is actually a representation of the last time in my life that I had thoughts of suicide. And so it's very, very personal and very heavy in that sense. And, you know, it kind of deals with like that voice in your head, you know, telling you like, hey, you know, the pain will go away if you just, and it's fighting that voice, you know, I'm saying, well, you know, like, no, like life is a gift, and, you know, we have, you know, there's people that love you, that you have, you know, other people that care about you. You can't do something like this because it's going to not just end you, but it's going to affect so many other people. And what kind of legacy is that to leave behind, you know, like just causing pain to others. It's not, you know, it's when it's like, it's not all about you. And so that's kind of what that song is. It's like this battle with yourself, and even the lyrics are kind of representing like there's the dark voice like telling you to like do it, and then there's the other voice that's like, no, I won't give in to you, and that's like the climactic kind of ending, and then it gets heavy, and then that moves us into the track Refinement, which Refinement is about finding like power within yourself and learning to like love yourself and understand like that you have potential, and you like you just have to tap into that, and you can really like achieve greatness and tremendous things if you just like shift your perspective on how you look at life. And so that song is just very like kind of straight to the point and really just powerful, because it's supposed to represent this internal power of like self-love. And then finally it ends on Elation, on this like kind of grandiose note, which Elation is exactly what it is. It's just, you know, pure joy, bliss, happiness. But the kind of sneaky thing about it is that there is kind of a hidden undertone behind that. It was sort of passive aggressive in the sense that it's actually about faking happy. So it wasn't actually, it's not like authentically being happy, but it's like doing it for the sake of like not falling back into a pattern of negative thoughts, and trying to like, okay, I may not be internally feeling happy, but if I just like focus on this, eventually it's going to shift my reality. It's going to shift my perspective. Hopefully. And that's why it kind of ends on this like it's kind of this like wonder of like, oh, we don't know, and then you're into the beyond, and that's the game of life, right? It's like, you know, we do our best and we try, and, you know, if we put forth our best effort, you know, eventually, you know, the good things will come. It's just like, it's this journey, right? And the journey is full of ups and downs, and that's kind of what the album is supposed to represent. And, you know, all these a lot of these lyrics and stuff, most of it was really written within a pretty short span of time while I was really in the depth of going through a lot of these emotions and whatnot. So yeah, that conceptually, that's really what the album is supposed to represent. It's like different internal emotions that one would battle with, and kind of just looking at different characteristics of humans, because we're very complex creatures, not just mentally, but like emotionally, and like there's so many layers to a person, especially when you get to know a person and you talk to a person and you realize how much we actually do have in common, but at the same time that our feelings are so complex. And my thing is that by putting that out there, I wanted something that other people could emotionally connect with, like I didn't want to just do something that was like, swing your sword high and like, or like, I don't know, like death metal kind of stuff, like just butcher the babies and I love all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but for me, like I'm more moved by the stuff that's like personal and real. And some people, they don't want that. Some people want, they want the escape. They're like, no, I want to hear stuff about like dragons and stuff because I'm trying to escape reality. But for me, like this, like I said, this is my way of like expressing myself, and the music is, so it's always going to be very personal.
Thanks for all the detailed information, Justin. And I really had the pleasure to listen to the album in its entirety. And I had to say it's a beautiful album and an amazing work from you guys, and great vocals. Musicianship is to another level from the start to the end. Each of the song is beautifully crafted. Great songs to listen to, and it takes the heart into the music, and your soul just melts along with the music. It's a wonderful piece of art, Justin. So thank you so much for putting up an amazing album this year. I know this has been almost 12 years since the release of your debut album, and I think the wait is really worth it, and it's a fantastic album from you. And thanks for all the awesomeness. And as a creator, Justin, how do you feel about the outcome of this new album?
Well, first I want to start off by saying, like, really thank you for those kind words. Like it means a lot. I'm glad you felt that. Now, can you rephrase that question again? Like, as a creator?
As a creator, what are your thoughts on this album, and how do you feel about the outcome, Justin?
So for me, I'm 100% satisfied with this album. I didn't feel that way with my first album. I kind of just I was afraid to even like, I was embarrassed to even let people hear it, Like I was like, oh, the mixes, I didn't want. And this album is the complete opposite. It's everything that I wanted. I felt like I did it right this time, and the way I heard it in my head, it actually sounds that way on the album. A lot of it having to do with David Castillo doing an awesome job with the mix. And as far as like the public reception has been, like it so far, I mean, it's been all positive reception from the public. The reviews have been outstanding. The compliments have been crazy. I've been compared to like people I idolize, so it's just like it's really cool. So I'm glad it's coming across that way, and it makes me more excited to like keep working on more stuff, you know, and like just keep kind of exploring more emotions and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this like I said, this is for me. This has just been a dream come true. It's like surreal, and I felt like I never really had anything out there that really represented my musical capacity. Like for a long time, I was just like to try to get guitar students. I was just posting like guitar clips, like, oh, look what I could play, and it's just like, I'm more than just that, you know. Like I was doing what I had to do because you know I that's how I make my living is teaching lessons. Um, but you know, like these are compositions, and you know they came from the heart. So to have it out there finally is just like it's just like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I kind of feel like I maybe uh, healed my inner child a bit with this one.
So, and did you do something special on the day of the release on April 18th?
Um, well, on April 18th, Metal Sucks premiered the album, and they did a really nice write up. It was really lovely what they had to say about it. Um, and so they premiered it. So for me, that was really cool. Like I didn't think I could get that to happen, and that was like that alone was like wow. Like I remember like telling my parents like, oh my God, I got a metal like. Just, so on that day, I think oh my my singer and I went to a concert that day. Um, no, I'm blanking on who we saw. It was an awesome jazz fusion guitar player. Oh, it's I'll have to think on that one because I'm losing it. But it was a really Cosmo Squad. We went and saw Cosmo Squad perform, and I mean the lineup was just sick. So that was a fun way to kind of celebrate. Otherwise, I probably would have just been at home happy and just like cooking some food or something. Just like yeah.
Very cool. And are there any touring plans that has been focused on for this year?
No, so when it comes to this project, couple things. One, the lineup logistically to make touring and stuff like that happen, kind of hard. I fund everything myself. I'm not on a label or anything, so it's just all comes from the guitar lessons I teach. It just that money goes boop, either into my mortgage or into the music stuff. Um, so the other thing is too that I actually kind of I don't really I'm not really into playing live that much. Like I don't get a lot of fulfillment out of it. I really enjoy the composition process and sitting there making stuff sound really big. So that part brings me more fulfillment, and I think because of how many years it's been since the last album, holding back my creativity, I feel like I need to catch back up now for all those make up for all those years and actually like pump out some more music and like I said, because it's how I emotionally express myself. So to not be able to do that for like 12 years was like kind of internally damaging for myself. So like I need to focus more on just making more music and releasing more music. So as of right now, that's gonna kind of be the plan. I want to take like an Arion approach. Like I really look up to him and what he's done. I love his albums, and I love how he works with all these different musicians and stuff. So in the future, I would also like to bring in more guests and stuff, and obviously like kind of try to keep the same core lineup, you know, but bring in a guest here and there, and just have other musicians that I really respect and admire, be part of the next vision and the next vision, and just over time just kind of build it up as like a studio project, and a nice experience to kind of take people into another world, and let them emotionally connect with it in that way. And then I don't know, maybe in the future, when I'm more established and all that, maybe a possibility of a festival appearance or something like that. Like, but that I mean that's down the road, and for right now the focus is just on, like I said, taking kind of that Arion approach where it's just like spending time in the lab crafting music.
And quite some years since the project has started back in 2007, and now with two full-length albums. So, how do you feel about this long road that you have traveled, Empyrean Sanctum?
Um, I feel really good. I feel really really good. It was a long road. It was a learning. I learned a lot along the way. I'm still learning. You're always learning. You're always trying to improve, as whether it's a musician, as a person internally, like all this stuff. Like so, yeah. I just I'm really grateful. Like it's just like I said. For me, it's like it's surreal. Like this is like stuff I like dreamed about like in high school as a kid, and like it's just what I've always wanted, you know.
Justin, awesome. Happy to hear that. I'm happy that all your dreams has come true now. So beautiful. And Justin, finally, any message that you have for the fans around the world?
Um, well, first of all, anyone that is a fan or that's listening and that is, enjoys the music and is impacted by it in any way, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for being supportive, and it's a, I'm so grateful that the music means something to you, because it's just music I write for me to express myself, and if it happens to resonate with other people or helps them get through some hard times or something, like, to me I feel like that's like serving like a greater purpose that's bigger than myself, and I know music has done that for me. I mean, bands like Symphony X and Pain of Salvation and Dream Theater and stuff like that, like, that changed my life. So, if it can have that kind of impact on other people, like, like I said, it's greater than me, and I appreciate every single person that supports me, and I will set out to try to just keep delivering quality music that's very real and deep, and touches on things that can be hard, but I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to from a musical standpoint, I'm always going to try to kind of push my own boundaries, and expand upon what I'm doing and take things to another level, or just kind of improve the sound more and craft the sound. So all that. So yeah. So for the fans, like, hey, they're being along for the ride, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to give back.
Interesting. And Justin, it has been a great pleasure to talk to you today and have you on this interview. And real pleasure to listen to the album Detachment from Reality. Like I said earlier, a fantastic album, and this is going to be one of my best albums for this year. So thank you for putting up this wonderful album this year, and I wish you all the best. I'm really hoping that we will see more new music coming from you in real time soon.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm working on stuff. It's still in the baby phases, but it's 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 being worked on and it's on the computer. So, but thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for your kind words. It
thanks,
means so much. I
thanks.
appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure, Justin. Thanks to you, and you have a good day ahead, and take care of yourself, Justin. Bye bye.
Thank you.